Okay, all right. I think we have 100 plus audience already. We will get started. I welcome everyone on this webinar. Thank you for sparing time and joining us. Our guest for the evening, for whom you've all joined this webinar, is here as well. I'll do a quick intro about myself and then I'll just pass it on to our key speaker here. My name is Dheeraj. I lead the global strategic business for BrowserStack. Been in the tech sales for about 20 years now, and this is my about year in BrowserStack in this company. So with that, I will pass it to the celebrity of the evening, Gulshan. If you could do a brief intro of yourself with the audience, and then we will move to the next stage.
Hey, thanks, Dheeraj. Hi, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thanks for joining the call. I hope you will be able to get away some key derivatives out of our webinar over here. My name is Gulshan Shaikh. I'm Director of Quality Engineering at Nasdaq.com. I handle Nasdaq.com site and a few other projects that are internal to Nasdaq. It's an engagement with our web properties team and digital marketing. So I have a total 16 years of experience in quality engineering wing, and I've been delivering projects across web, API, and mobile apps, and so on. So at Nasdaq, we are based out of Nasdaq Bangalore Center, and a large portion of our development quality engineering team is at Nasdaq Development Center, and we also have teams across US and Europe. So as an organization, Nasdaq, we are modernizing markets and connecting capital with innovation and to fight the financial crime. And we are also helping to build the financial system of the future. And a lot of these projects are, built and handled at Nasdaq Bangalore Center. From the quality engineering perspective, my team mostly handles the functional testing, API testing, mobile testing, and also performance. So that's a bit of a background about me and my team over here. Over to you, Dheeraj.
Awesome. All right. So all of what you described about your role and the company is of interest to all of our audience here, and that's why we see this audience sparing this hour for us. Moving on, if you can move to the next one, we want to make this experience for everyone a seamless experience, and we want you to take away what you have come to seek here. Today's session is for 60 minutes, and to make this a seamless experience, all participants would be muted so that you can sort of, within a seamless experience, hang on to the discussion that we have. The Q&A is at the end, but you can keep typing your questions on the Q&A panel on Zoom. Some of the responses may come live, and most of them could come towards the end of the session when we go to Q&A. The session is being recorded, and the recording link will be provided to all the participants. So with that, if we move to the next stage, this is our agenda for today. We will speak about the Nasdaq story, the transformation that Gulshan led at Nasdaq. How did they go about identifying the problem, the potential solutions, and how did that benefit Gulshan, her team, and Nasdaq business as such. A little bit about key features of test infrastructure and platform. BrowserStack vision. Many of you know BrowserStack as an infrastructure company. Our vision is grown much broader over time, and I think this is time that we start communicating our vision broadly. So we'll speak a little bit about that, and then we have a Q&A. That's the overall flow for the evening for all of us. All right, moving to the next one. So look, as we, software development as such is only getting more complex, and that amplifies the demands from QA. Testing becomes crucial for faster releases. Different companies across the board use different kind of test infrastructure platforms to speed up testing processes. However, there are challenges that arise with continuous testing and delivery. We want to host a poll here to understand your biggest challenges with your current testing solution. So you have the poll in front of you. Would request all the participants to check the current challenges, and then we will take a look at the poll results at the end of the poll. And that will be a good segue for our rest of the discussion in the evening, morning, whatever time it is for you guys. All right. So Gulshan, does this sound familiar, this list?
Yeah, been through this.
Yeah, I believe many people would resonate with this, or most people will resonate with this, and could be at different stages of the journey, would relate to this in different ways in that sense. Okay, we'll just give everyone a minute to complete this poll, and that will be a precursor for us to go into the Nasdaq story. All right, we have okay, if you can get some more results, I think we are about 2/3 of the way through with our poll. Request everyone else to quickly. Okay, all right, we have the results out. Anup, Supradim, if you guys can flash the results on the screen. We have them on the screen. All right, so the biggest contributor, if everyone can see, 65% of the participants have said real device coverage, 42% instant access to devices, and then latency, security, and support. So in that stacking order. Interesting. Sounds very familiar, Gulshan, isn't it?
True. I think it's important to prioritize this, but I guess this should be looked like how do you perceive this as a group, right? And what's most important for individual projects per se. Right now, I think what I see here is most familiar with the stack ranking that we have done too. So great.
Would you have rated this similarly or differently?
Well, we weren't able to do that because we were the panelists, but I can say this offline. Yes, I would have gone the same route.
Awesome. Okay, good segue for our next stage. I think we'll sort of start discussing about how some of these drivers help the QA team at Nasdaq improve the experience and performance of their website. If we can discuss, Gulshan, some of the factors related to the test infrastructure, could you share some details about the challenges and the business solution that your team was, business situation that your team was facing when you started this transformation journey at Nasdaq?
Yeah, sure. Nasdaq.com, guys know, we've been here for 20 plus years, and about 2019 we had a redesign of the site, and we were looking around solutions where we could have the test coverage done throughout the site, right? So which means considering the volume of the users and considering the versatility of the site, we really wanted to have a solution where we could make sure we justify both the sites. Now, before we moved on to the real device system, we were using physical devices, having a lab internal, which comes with a set of pros and cons. So basically, from all our previous learnings, I could see that I could categorize these in two divisions broadly. One is for our release cycles, and second is for our test hardness, because both go hand in hand, and as much as we try to accelerate each other, we would be in a better position. So from the release cycles, we wanted definitely an instant access to devices. And I think the pandemic really pushed a button because it just came like a year after, and then having physical devices, accessibility to the devices was crucial. Second was in terms of like the device portfolio, how much of like, devices can we cover, and what are the real devices access that we are going to have. The third point was like, we needed a stable infrastructure platform with a low latency. Again, that could like, intensify and help our release cycles. Apart from this, we are also spread across geographically. So we just needed to make sure that, these devices are available, from any place. Now, coming to the second area, which is like, test harness. So by the time we were identifying a couple of vendors, like, where we will have to go with the real device solution, we already had a test automation framework in place. So we wanted to make sure that, we are like choosing a vendor that's like better aligned with our tech stack, and we'll be able to repurpose and execute an existing automation framework without having like, do much of a changes, and, basically utilize all the test scenarios that we have automated from that perspective. Which also means that, we needed a better execution time to what we have at present. So the numbers that you see on the screen are basically for a single device, because we were using a physical device and like we couldn't like go on concurrency over there. It took like, like hours of work in order to get the test automation executed, which also means that, we're deriving the results a little late, and, we are signing off the releases that much later. So I guess these were like, some of the challenges that we had. And then, once we moved to BrowserStack, we had a resolution to this.
Yep, awesome. So a lot of changes that COVID pushed a button on are like the new world, the new normal. You've kind of covered part of what I would have asked in the follow-up question on how did you go about the evaluation process for which vendor would work for you? How did you evaluate vendors? What was the thought process? And you've covered a lot of that. I think just sort of, some of the things that you covered, real device coverage, concurrency, spread out teams, therefore access to devices, real time, latency, your frameworks that you already had, integration of those frameworks, and a vendor who has the right level of support, scale, device coverage, scalability. The organization of your size needs to get that confidence that as the organization scales, as your business scales, we are able to support you. Awesome. Anything else you want to add on your decision or your thought process, in addition to what you already said?
Yeah, I think people who are like in this kind of a situation now should also look up the usage statistics for their own product, right? I mean, we were able to derive this, some part of it from our legacy, and then we constantly keep reviewing as to what does the spectrum look like for our users, what kind of operating systems they use, the viewports that they use, and the browsers that they use. So which give us a fair idea as to like, which way we need to lean on. And we also had done some analysis, like what is the percentage of increase in size of a population, and what is it leaning towards? So if we see like, from 2019 to 2023, we had a massive percentage of increase of population who are using the mobiles versus our desktops. So I guess that kind of a status quo is important to be reviewed often, and is the availability of the new devices and as and how they come to market, are you able to use them and then see how does the application behave on that. So we know the Nasdaq.com is a public site, so we've got like pretty much coverage across the Windows, Mac, Androids, and iOS. So that way it was easy for us to see that kind of device coverage is provided by BrowserStack as well. Yeah, those were a couple of more things.
Yep. And any company which has consumers logging on to either their app or their website, and especially if those websites and apps contribute to customer connect, customer experience, direct revenue, etc., the disaggregation of devices becomes really important, because users would communicate across different devices, and you don't want to compromise on the user experience on all of them. Contributes to also app ratings that you start to see, and the fact that you test on real devices gives much higher level of reliability on what the consumer experience or the user experience would be.
And there's a lot of way that you could see how fast you want the performance of these. Inherently depends upon what kind of automation framework do you use.
Yeah.
Is that scalable with the product that you're implementing, right? And also organizations like Nasdaq, who has their highest regard on the security perspective, vendors that we are signing up are able to complete all the risk assessment programs and policies that go a long way for us to make sure that we get the right level of security over there. And what happens in cases where we do need customer support, where we have the technical issues, or we have some troubleshooting that needs to be done from our automation perspective. So I would say I think absolutely great about how the customer experience has been for Nasdaq with BrowserStack here. We've had some great area around being a highly available team, comes up with a quick response and then try to schedule the meetings around our release calendar. So, we don't mess up on any of our releases. So that's been pretty helpful.
Awesome. Awesome. It was very comprehensive. Moving on, could you please share how BrowserStack has been empowering your teams to enhance your website's performance over the past 2 years?
Yeah. So I guess a couple of things that we have already discussed is the availability, customer support, instant access to devices. We also had some great experience around when iPhone 13 and 14 were put out with different variations. Even when they are very new to market, we were able to try and check how the application looks like. So that's the day zero access for us. I think we're pretty happy about how that went in. The dev tools that provide a real help for our developers when we have customer specific issues in order to troubleshoot them with help of a BrowserStack tool, right? I think it gives more power to the development team and also to the testing team to be able to simulate exactly what is happening to the customer world. And also have the quite few of lower environments that kind of scaled up well with BrowserStack compared to the other vendors that we had assessed in the past. So our response time were good. So early access actually makes it kind of useful for the design team, developers, product owners, getting feedback early from whichever point of the feature test that they are doing, whether it is design team having the new Figmas for us, developers who are getting into the new code for us, and also the product owners, right, who are able to do the UAT interface. So it kind of increased the team collaboration because everyone had known could see and fill the same problem area with help of these tools.
Awesome. Awesome. And not only iPhone 13, 14, we had a day zero launch for Google Pixel 7 as well. And for Samsung Galaxy S23 and S23 Ultra, we had a day -2 launch, meaning 2 days before the global launch, we had the devices on our platform. And that's something which most of our customers appreciated, all of our customers appreciated, and they were pleased about that. We have instant access to 20,000 plus real Android and iOS devices across an infrastructure of 19 data centers. Point on latency, depending on your location, the nearest data center gets triggered automatically. And 3,000 plus desktop browsers. Our investment in infra is a testament of our commitment to our customers to ensure that we are scaling our infrastructure faster or at the same pace as, at least at the same pace as we are seeing our customers grow, or as we are seeing our the load on our infrastructure, so that at any stage the user experience doesn't get compromised. On support, our SLA is 6 hours, but we've consistently recorded an actual response time of 30 minutes. Our investment on the engineering side, 11 to 12 years of experience of running the business, a team of dedicated account managers and success managers is all aimed at creating that support infrastructure in every way for the customers. So glad to hear that most of it worked for you guys, and it helped you achieve your transformation goals of at least that stage. Could you share some of the actual business outcomes achieved, and how is it contributing to the overall QA transformation?
Yeah, so like I said in the beginning, that we were using the physical devices for the execution that had a limitation. So once we moved over to the real devices on the cloud, that drastically reduced us, giving us an execution time of 80% reduction in our test execution time. So that was a big wow for us. We were able to swiftly just complete our test execution, find the reports, and then sign on the releases on the same day. So for our release cycles are pretty tight, and also we believe that we do make faster releases, multiple releases on weekly basis. So time is of an essence, and I guess being empowered by tools just help us get to our milestones that much faster, right? So apart from the accessibility and having the real devices available and the coverage, we were also able to address a simple solution for most of the users, development teams, when we want to do a release, definite kind of a thing, go in a full regression cycle, right? We were looking out options for how could we help reduce that, so our release cycle move faster. So we came up with a very simple wireframe called as multi-dimension tests, which basically means that we are using multi-dimensions in a way is we're adding more parameters and make it more accessible to not only the quality engineering team, but also to whether it's a product owner, a designer, or a developer, implementing a shift left approach over here. So it's a simple framework which is integrated with Jira, helps us execute our risk-based regression. Let's say that I have a 4,000 test case suite, and that needs to be signed off by tomorrow. But in reality, the feature tests that are coming to us really need just the risk-based areas. And for that, we need to know whether, what are the impacted areas to it, right? So that the actual execution can only happen on those that are required, and leave out the rest of them that are not part of this code churn. So since this wireframe was implemented on Jira, and all of our team have access to it, if you could visualize that you have a Jira ticket, you have an option to select the impacted areas from there, and you have an option to select, what kind of devices do you want to execute this on. Let's say, for example, I want to put it just on a Mac and an iPhone 12, for example, right? And that would be it. So the backend picks up this job, executes it, and brings the results back to your Jira ticket, where anyone would be able to see what are the kind of results that are coming to it. So in a way, you don't have to wait till end of the cycle to know what are the results that have failed due to the implementation of the new feature. This can be done much ahead and early, as well, by anybody who are the audience from the beginning of the life cycle. So I think this prototyping has pretty much helped us, kind of downsize the areas where we do not need a full regression cycle. So the quality engineering efforts can be more utilized for some of the areas that needs of a higher priority areas, I would say. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So your transformation journey has sort of, taken care of all the aspects of seamless workflows, integrations, processes, and you've leveraged the infrastructure, combined all of that together to come up with a transformation result, which is simply exemplary. QA transformation is always a journey. How do you plan to scale up this test automation initiative? What's the next step in this journey?
Okay, so I guess now that we have identified, we have been able to establish a framework, and we were able to successfully bring out a simpler framework to be able to, identify just the impacted area. We just wanted to make sure that this can be used well within the team, and can be practiced well. That can help across the multiple Scrum and the Kanban teams.
Got it. And that sort of that scaling journey that and all of that you described from what is in your purview connects well with BrowserStack's vision of a single platform. I would like to take this moment to speak a little bit about that. If the panelists can bring up the slide. And while the panelists bring up the slide, okay, the slide is up. Let me just give you a brief narration first before we come to this slide. Today, testing is highly inefficient with multiple tools and manual processes. Our vision is to become the end-to-end test platform, and therefore become the de facto test ops toolchain. What this means is, providing testers with solutions across the testing cycle, from test development, where they can write tests using frameworks like Selenium, Nightwatch, Playwright, etc., or maybe a low-code, no-code solution. Then run the tests on our infrastructure, and then focus on issues around flaky tests, and streamlining all of these using a central test management system. This is like a standard test workflow. What we are trying to bring it is in one set of test ops toolchain as such. And to top it up, you can then look at deep insights through test observability. So this is our overall vision of a single test operations platform, And we would like to do this across all kinds of testing on both web and app, whether it's functional, visual, you touched upon accessibility, performance, you also spoke about API and security testing. So that was my description was the workflow view of the world. What you see here is the product view of the world, web testing, app testing, manual, automation, the platform integrations, and then you have the visual, automation grid, accessibility, etc. And then the optimization with test management as the central orchestrator, test observability for all of your efficiencies, and then development platforms like Nightwatch or low-code, no-code testing, etc. So this is our overall vision for the end-to-end testing strategy. We are at a certain stage in this vision. A lot of these products are either GA, beyond the functional testing that everyone is used to, are either in GA or alpha or beta, and some of it is in the kitchen at the moment. We expect this platform to be a reality in this visual of this slide in about 6 to 9 months. So you would keep seeing more of the stuff coming from BrowserStack to make this complete. So with that, what would you say about this strategy or this end-to-end test platform vision that BrowserStack has, Gulshan?
I think it is great. Actually, BrowserStack is thinking along a way where it wants to be an end-to-end solution. I guess every organization is pretty much having this on their mind, considering that, we are having different frameworks for each type of testing as of today, right? So we have a framework for web application testing, another framework for API, another testing framework for visual testing. I guess holistically putting everything across one umbrella is just going to be as much time saving for all the quality engineers and even developers who are using, these tools. Yeah, I think it's a great move.
Which are the next ones from this slide that you and your team would like to evaluate?
I think accessibility testing has been part of our roadmap this year, Dheeraj. And I think we've already started having conversations onto getting a demo completed for accessibility from BrowserStack. So far, I think I've heard some great feedback from my team who has been evaluating this. So I'm just hoping that works out well. Other than this, I think visual testing is also something on our radar because being a public site and like making sure that we have the right data available, the right UI and UX available, it just makes it more important for us to have the right visual being present, right? And if you see the statistics, like a user with a bad experience wouldn't want to stay on the site for more than 2 to 3 seconds. So I guess that is also part of our plan this year.
Awesome. And we recently launched the fully automatic accessibility as well. So just the right time to start speaking to your teams and doing demos on accessibility. Awesome. All right. Let's now go to the next poll question. And the next poll question for all of our audience is, are you interested in exploring any of the below products from BrowserStack? Let's just run this poll and see what sort of interest are, what sort of areas after seeing this vision are of interest to our audience. The poll is live. You can get started and input your selections, and we will sort of just see how the numbers go. And while this poll is running, Gulshan, that was a very insightful story of your transformation journey at Nasdaq. I am very, very sure that a lot of people resonated with that. The number of audience that we have here, although that audience had come to listen to the story of Nasdaq, we'll just, once this poll gets completed, just do a quick summary of some of the things that we discussed, and then start moving to the next stage of Q&A. Okay, I think we are halfway through on the responses, going up gradually. I would urge every participant to do a quick selection. You must have gathered some insights at least, and would have resonated with a lot of the discussion that we had, the story that Gulshan shared. And at this stage, I think it'll be good to get your inputs on, and also understanding, a little bit of, based on the selection, your journey in the QA transformation. Okay, panelists, if you can tell us what stage of the poll are we at? Slowly, very slowly moving. I think if we can get some more responses, we are about 2/3 of the way through, and the meter seems to have stagnated. Urging the ones who've not filled in the poll to do that. Okay, all right. I think we have enough responses, and I think we should stop the poll now. Thank you everyone for your selections and response. So if we can now move to the next stage. Yep. So just summarizing some of the advantages of the BrowserStack platform, the BrowserStack solution that we covered, a summary slide, test at scale with confidence. We have 19 data centers across the globe, 20,000 plus iOS and Android devices, 3,000 plus desktop browsers, day zero availability of all flagship devices across the board, in some cases day -2, instant access, no pre-booking required, just log in and get started. And the access is same for, access to devices is same for any customer, any user who has a license with us. 99.9% uptime. And this is always publicly available to see on our website. We're very, very transparent about that. Transparent tiering across, so across desktops and devices, intelligent test issue detection, quicker onboarding, zero code change with SDK, and then our exceptional support through our depth of engineering teams, our SLA of 30 minutes that we have been able to achieve versus our 6 hours response time that we have on our SLA, and a very, very accomplished team of customer success and account managers. With that, I want to really thank you, Gulshan, for sharing this transformational story, answering the questions from the QA community, and a lot of interest from a lot of attendees here. We had about 150 plus participants in this webinar, all wanting to hear the transformation story from Nasdaq and from you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the attendees for your time. The recording would be available to everyone, and do remember to review us. Thank you. Have a good rest of the
Thank you.
day, evening, whatever time zone you're in.